How are you doing? So, look, later on, doing a live. You better be there. Got a lot to talk about. Rabbit holes and all sorts of things. But this video, this one, is just going to be about something a little bit different. Because a few of you have emailed me, and when I say a few, about 100 people have emailed me, referencing what I think about this parent who's come out and spoken. Now, I did briefly touch on this before, the drunk turkey situation. They've now appeared on Chronicles of Olivia. And look, I'm not really familiar with those two channels. You know, they're obviously got their followers and they do a good thing. I briefly had a look at Chronicles of Olivia channel, some of the other stuff, because I'd watched this video about this call and I wanted to get a little bit of background on the channel. And look, they do a really good job. Very good. But this video and this person who's coming forward, I can't believe it. I apologise. Look, to me, there was too many. You'd start saying something and then they'd turn around and be like, I think. Or, you know, there was not any specific statements given that held any weight. It almost started off that way, but then it would go down the route of, again, she was speculating herself. I imagine, I think, I believe. That's not fact. That's someone who was, again, making stuff up no different than what we do. You know, there was no real facts of anything given, no screenshots of the messages or the calls to prove that they did indeed happen. There is nothing concrete there whatsoever. And that's just my thoughts. And I wish I could say something better, but I just can't. I wish that we could know what was true and what wasn't, because the flip side of the coin is, if this is indeed accurate, and I'm not saying it's not accurate, I'm not saying the woman's full of shit, I'm just saying that there was nothing there what would lead me to believe that being full of shit wasn't a possibility. And, you know, in something like this, it would be nice to hear from even just one person who couldn't potentially be full of shit, because it just seems that anybody that you hear from, any single piece of information that comes out, there is a potential that it's just not true, or it's been made up, or it's been twisted and changed, adapted, altered in some way, shape or form. And it happens all the time. Like I see in the comments, I'll say something in a video and then someone will comment and say, you said this, and I'll be like, no, I didn't. This is how Chinese whispers start. Because someone will say something and someone else will take it, twist it, run with it, tell someone else, and then they add their bit to it. And before you know it, the original message is completely changed. And look, you know, fantastic work to some of these channels who have managed to reach out and get these people, or they've reached out to them, and I just don't get it. But that's why I will never have anybody on this channel like that. I just can't do it, because unless they can provide you absolute definitive proof of something, then all we can do is speculate. There is nothing that can be said. There's nothing that we can push across and say this is accurate, because who knows what's accurate. So we know that this house was potentially a party house. We know that there was law enforcement who had attended, because we've seen the videos of that. But none of these situations that we've physically seen have been kids spilling out of the property, you know, into the streets, and hundreds of kids. No different than the Truckee situation, is it? Where, you know, we was told there was a party of, 400 people. This house apparently had a house party with 150 people. Now, 150 people ain't fitting in that house, are they? Going to be out on the street, and I would imagine that the police would be there quick, sharp, if they seem to turn up and have a complaint made when there's 4 or 5, it would seem. Who knows? I'm perhaps reading into it a little bit too much. But yeah, I couldn't pick anything out from it that I could say, yeah, that's accurate. You know, like with regards to people knowing about these murders and the students being wrong before the law enforcement. Now, is that a possibility, a potential? Yes, I believe it is a possibility and a potential that happened. And if it did indeed happen, then that 100% raises questions about people inside that house and why that was. But the fact that nothing seems to have been done about it, and there's been no other arrests, there's been nothing but praise from the other side, seemingly, about the survivors in this house, I have to question the integrity of this woman and those statements. Who knows? Like I say, we can't have our cake and eat it. You know, just as Dylan can't say she didn't see anything, but then on the other hand say she was frozen in fear, those things don't go. That's a paradox there, isn't it? It's you either saw something and froze with fear, or you didn't see anything and you're fine. You know, and again, with regards to the calls that were made, now, was law enforcement called first immediately when they found their friends, or did they call friends first? If they called friends first, why did they call friends first and not law enforcement? Why were law enforcement not called for 8.5? The questions are endless. The questions are indeed endless. But in answer, I'll try. I'm nearly making this as convoluted as what that call was. I just don't trust any of it. I just don't trust any of them around it. I just don't understand. There's so many weird things around this entire case that make absolutely no sense whatsoever, that I don't trust any of them. And like I say, we'll talk about it later in a live. I'll catch you all there.